Hey there, it's Stephanie Shea, Chief Astrologer for janspiller.com with your December astrological overview. So we're coming into the final month here of 2022, and people might start feeling a little bit restless under this astrology. We are still under the effect of Mars retrograde, which started on October 30th, and it goes all the way until January 12th of 2023. In addition, things are going to slow down, excuse me, even more this month as we go into Mercury retrograde that is starting on December the 29th and running until January 18th. So I've probably even mentioned in last month's video that January 1st is not going to be the day to run out and try to start your New Year's resolutions. It's really better give yourself a couple week break, not try to force all these new goals and efforts you want to get started for yourself until closer to the end of January, around the 20th. Things will start to pick up again. So, in the meantime, what we can do with the astrology this month is continue to finish things that we've started. The Mars retrograde cycle that we're in is in the sign of Gemini. It may cause people to reconsider some of their relationships. I definitely consider Mars to be a relationship planet. Whether you're attached or single, I think people are going to be more likely to review past partnerships during this time. It's possible feelings of either passion or anger, maybe both, are rekindled. And so it's really time to be cautious in our communications and not a great time for decision making. And if you are considering entering a new committed partnership, maybe just take things slowly with new potential partners coming into your life. Or if a former partner surfaces into your life, you want to determine if any resolution is needed without the pressure to decide if the relationship should be restarted. So I like to use Mars retrograde astrology as an opportunity to enjoy the moment and then plan to review important decisions, as we said, later in January of 2023 after Mars stations direct. Now, Gemini rules communication and connection. So while Mars is retrograde in Gemini, conversations can definitely get heated. We're going to need to take some extra care in choosing our words, and it's going to be a really tricky time to try and win an argument. So the better strategy is to retreat, focus on the things we can do productively on our own. This astrology is really fantastic for finishing projects and reconnecting with our inner drive. If we have lost motivation to finish something, sometimes you can kind of rally and get that going again under a Mars retrograde cycle. People might rediscover an activity that they've been passionate about. And just remember, because there's some impulsive energies afoot during this time, everyone might be a little bit more accident prone. It's definitely a month to slow down and look before you leap, and that includes in any physical activities. Some other big events this month have to do with some of the outer planets. We've got Neptune stationing direct on December the 3rd. Now, Neptune has been retrograde from June 28th all the way till December 2nd. And during those months, we get more access to our subconscious mind and the spiritual realm. It kind of creates the right environment for that to happen during those months of the year. And so that gives us the opportunity to tune into more subtle energies. Now, either way, whether Neptune is stationing retrograde or direct, anytime it stations, we often feel foggy, there's more confusion. So remember, during the days around December 3rd, it's already Mars retrograde, right? And you're going to need to take care with communications and the information we receive around this time. Things are probably going to be different than they appear, and people may be reacting to misinformation. So it's an extra bad time for decision making. Really, the whole month is not great, but the week around December 3rd is pretty much the worst time to make a big decision. As Neptune stations direct on the 3rd, we'll be shifting from a state of sensing to more of a state of perceiving the tangible world. It's going to be important to remember some of these spiritual realizations that we had over the past few months while Neptune was retrograde. And just know that we could become distracted by our day to day living. We're going to go into now a 5 month period where it's really a lot more focused on the tangible realm. And so I would write down ideas or realizations that might have surfaced over the past 5 months while you were a little bit more tuned in to what's going on in the spiritual world. Everything we felt and the guidance we may have received during those months could be extremely useful to us during the days that Neptune is direct. And Neptune will stay direct from December 3rd of 2022 all the way until June 30th of 2023. Now, our full moon this month is on December the 7th, and it's at 16 degrees Gemini. So this is a big one if you're a Gemini person, or if you're a Sagittarius person born around December 7th, you could find yourself in the spotlight in some way. That can often happen when the full moon is around your birthday. But for everybody, I think it's a time to maybe get a moment of clarity during this confusing astrology this month. We'll be a little bit away from Neptune's station direct. It'll be the 7th, or so if some days have gone by. And the full moon in Gemini can help us to sort through some information that we have been pondering. Maybe that missing piece of information comes in to help us assess our situation more accurately. It's also a really good time for socializing, for reconnecting with people that you haven't talked to in a while. So it should be a fairly social full moon vibe. Now, Jupiter is going to move into Aries this month. This is pretty exciting. Jupiter did spend a bit of time in the sign of Aries during 2022, and then it retrograded back for a final goodbye to the sign of Pisces. And on December 20th, Jupiter is entering Aries and remaining in this sign until May 15th of 2023. So we did have Jupiter in Aries from May 10th to October 27th of 2022. So if you think of those months, there was a bold and optimistic energy in general. When Jupiter is in Aries, it's really encouraging us to dream big. So the positive side, I think, is going to be an overall sense of enthusiasm. It's very motivating energy, helping people to pursue personal goals. And under this astrology, we're going to be supported to follow our inner voice and stand up for what we believe in. We might see a call for more individual freedom under this astrology, and people who feel they didn't have a voice might receive the opportunity to be heard. It's very bold energy. Even the people that feel a little bit shy or reserved about speaking up for themselves might find they get a boost under this Jupiter and Aries astrology. And it's really, I think, a good time for athletes. When I think of the sign of Aries, that's one of the most physical signs. I think of athletics. When Jupiter is in this sign, I think it's going to help people with their athletic pursuits. And that could be not just professional athletes, but anybody who seeks to strengthen their body and take on physical challenges. Now, the downside to Jupiter in Aries, because it has such an expansive effect, and you can run the risk of overdoing things. So excess of energies it represents, too much self-focus, right? That could have people lose sight of the greater good. We might see an increase in confrontation and combative behavior, unfortunately, if Jupiter and Aries energy gets out of balance. So moderation is absolutely the key to working with this astrology. It's going to be wise to monitor ourselves and be sure we aren't coming at others with too much fire. When it comes to fire and Aries energy, I always say a little goes a long way. It's potent. And Jupiter is very powerful already. We don't need to steamroll anyone. On a global scale, we may unfortunately see an increase in military conflicts under this astrology. It really just depends on how the world leaders decide to use this powerful astrology either for the good of all or for their own selfish agenda. Now, the September, where am I? The December solstice is coming right up on December 21st. I always call it the December solstice because sure, in the northern hemisphere, it's the winter solstice, but we have a whole other population living south of the equator, and for them, it's their summer solstice. So I like to call it the December solstice. It marks the sun's ingress into Capricorn, wherever you live in the world. And it is the point when the tilt of the northern hemisphere is farthest away from the sun, which is why we get winter up here. But in the southern hemisphere, of course, it's their first day of summer. So wherever you are in the world, it's the energy of the sun moving into Capricorn. It's ushering in the predominance of the energies of the final signs of the zodiac. So we're thinking ahead. We're going to start feeling the Capricorn, the Aquarius, and the Pisces coming in the coming months. These signs strive to organize society into a cohesive whole that's working together to ensure survival for all. I think of Capricorn energy as organizing people towards a practical goal that, when reached, ensures the security of physical survival for everyone involved. When I think of Aquarius energy, I think of it reaching beyond the immediate circle to include humankind as a whole. And this sign is concerned with adding an objective viewpoint and showing others how to cooperate as a group to attain that mental cohesion needed to do what's best for everyone involved. And when we get to Pisces energy, Pisces is concerned with connecting with a higher power and ensuring survival and blessings for themselves and everyone around them. So this solstice is ushering in a time for retreat and working on things in a behind the scenes kind of way. It's a time to harness our resources and go in directions that further our personal goals. You might acknowledge a business desire. You might want to be developing a creative talent or participating in accomplishing an aim that has been important to you in your life. It's a time to stand back, see the bigger picture, reflect on your life, and the kind of the common denominators between all of us. I think this time of year we can start noticing our fellow humans and the things that could all bring us together. So I enjoy this solstice this time of year. Some other events that will be happening is the Capricorn new moon on December 23rd. And so this is a great new moon for people to set intentions related to Capricorn themes. Just keep in mind, we're going to be in this Mars retrograde. I keep reminding everybody there's the Mercury retrograde. I'll talk about that in a minute. So set your intentions, absolutely. But take your time in compiling your wish list. Make sure your wish sits well with your gut instinct before deciding whether you want to keep it on the paper. And just know that next month, perhaps when we're out of the retrogrades and we hit another new moon, you may be adjusting some of these things that you thought you wanted at this time. But it is still a very productive time to get the seeds planted of your ambitions and your ideas. And among other areas, Capricorn holds dominion over things such as your profession, your public status, reaching goals, I'd say accepting responsibility, time management, anything to do with taking charge, being the boss, that kind of thing, as well as keeping your commitments. So there is a lot you can work with as far as setting intentions at this Capricorn new moon. Now, the final thing to be aware of this month is Mercury retrograde. It's going to add to the slowdown. And guess what? This Mercury retrograde is in the sign of Capricorn. As I mentioned, it goes December 29th until the suspense, until January 18th, 2023. So this means we'll be entering the new year under double retrograde energy, as I mentioned. While Mercury is retrograde in Capricorn, we could be called to reevaluate our career path and our long-term goals. People might be more apt to question the practicality of their of the methods they're using, right? And look to rectify past oversights if we've been unrealistic in our planning. This is what I like about this Mercury retrograde. This time period can actually help us rework our schedules and renegotiate commitments in a way that's going to be more successful. So if you've bitten off more than you can chew, this Mercury retrograde in Capricorn can help you realign what you're doing so that you can actually feel like you're accomplishing what you set out to do. It could be very difficult to move forward with something new because the energy is so strong by the end of the month for cleaning up the past. We might be eager for some new challenges, such a promotion or a new line of work, but we're going to be encouraged to finish what we've started first. And there's going to be extra support to bring projects to completion and redo any work that has proven to be problematic. We can take advantage of these available energies when we channel our motivation towards improving or building upon past efforts. So not quite the time to take a big leap, but when I talk to my clients, I always say, life happens. Sometimes someone has to take a new job during double retrogrades. It doesn't necessarily mean everything's going to go wrong. But I would say to really double check the terms of any new agreements that you enter, maybe even leave room to renegotiate at a later date, just so you don't feel like you're getting locked into something during this time period. It is workable. So keep that in mind. If you have to make a big purchase, always get a good warranty. And that's good advice for any time, but especially under double retrogrades. And I hope that you have a wonderful month of December. Just you have full license to take it easy, sit things out. You don't have to say yes to every single holiday event and party if you're not feeling it. It really is more of a time for slowing down and reflection. And I look forward to seeing you in 2023 for your January overview.